Every shot is perfection. I love whenever there's a shot like this where no matter when you pause it, it's a wallpaper. It's just so fantastic. Usually whenever you have a shot like this, you'll usually have like the animators, it gets wonky at certain shots because they know you're not going to see every single frame of it. But yeah, Chisato and the kimono look, it was so good. It was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful shot. And of course the context of the scene itself was tear-jerking. I really did enjoy it. But yeah, episode 10 of Lycoris Recoil, I have to say, no Chisato X Takina moments, which was kind of disheartening, but at the same time, it really did feel like everything at this point is ramping up. And I will argue, there's a good portion of this episode was really just the fighting of philosophies. This kind of thing that anime gets caught up in at some point where two people are talking about how they're justice and no, I'm justice and you do things your way, but it's bad for society. But honestly, it kind of came to a really interesting twist towards the end of it. Really, Majima's plan, I guess, was really the nice twist to it. His idea that he didn't want the thousands of weapons for himself. He wanted to create like a massive societal rumbling, essentially. Putting all these weapons throughout society and then seeing the mayhem that creates. Seeing random people that obviously probably never see weapons suddenly going, what is this thing? And everybody freaking out. Now, there's a little bit of puzzling aspect of it, like why does this guy randomly look underneath his bench and go, oh, what this thing? Oh, crap, I'm sorry. Shot thing, but again, I guess that plays into Majima's mind, if you think about it. Majima's mindset is that everybody lives in peace. And thus they don't know what troubles are. They don't know tragedy. And so to essentially hand them something that creates tragedy, they don't know what to do with it, and they probably panic. And yes, people seeing people around them with these things, they start to get a little freaked out. But no, starting out this episode, we have Mizuki and Kurumi is trying to find out where Yoshi is because they want to find him so they can get her a new heart and to save Chisato. So in their own way, they're trying to fix the issue that's currently they're facing. But yes, Chisato sees them and says, all right, stopping this. We're stopping this whole thing, which is kind of, I think in my mentality is more of a thing of why didn't Kurumi and Mizuki speak up? And Kurumi later on says, this is her wish. This is what she wanted. We're going to respect that. They're not. Mizuki and Kurumi are going to do something on the sidelines. But it is one of those things of like Chisato coming at them and saying, no, look, we're stopping. We're shutting down the place. Go on and live your life. Go back to what you want to do. Mizuki's talking about going after some hunk that she met, and Kurumi saying, I can't really live here because you're not going to be here, so I guess I'll go to Germany. But it's that troubling thing of like, you think they would kind of turn around and say, no, this is what we want to do. This is typically with these situations, it's always like, no, I know that you want us to move on with our lives, but we can't move on with our lives until we fix this problem. You're important to us. So I was a little disheartened to see that they kind of gave up as quickly as they did, because even Kurumi was saying that she had a way of finding. Looking through this documentations for Alan, the Institute, might be able to find out who actually gave this to her. And later we get the scene with Mika giving Chisato her coming of age kimono, which was really, like I said, a fantastic scene, because of course, in this scene, we're both, seeing Chisato essentially being this daughter figure for Mika, who is her father figure, but additionally having Mika finally break down and tell Chisato the truth. And what was great about it was that, yes, on this end, he obviously sees that these are the sins of his life. These are the things that he did. I can't erase the fact that, yes, initially, I wanted to use you. I wanted you to be great so that me as a commander would reap the rewards. But of course, because of what Shinji told him to make this promise, everything sort of shifted. We had the perspective that Mika and Yoshi initially were wanting to have her as this daughter figure, to raise her as their daughter. But it was always with the promise that in the end, Mika would turn her into a killer, and he didn't keep that promise. Eventually, Mika got to the point where he didn't want to do that anymore. With what's happening with Yoshi and Majima, this is sort of pushing me now that Yoshi is actually sort of the casualty of the Allen Institute. I think in the end, we're going to have the same situation with Yoshi as we have with Mika. That from the beginning, it was all for the gain. Mika wanted credit for building up Chisato as a Lycoris. Yoshi wanted to do this experiment, wanted to, with the Allen Institute, help Chisato who had this gift. But in the end, they change. And I think Yoshi himself is sort of probably struggling with this, but he knows that the Allen Institute is much more powerful than they think, and that in the end, he still has to clean up this mess. He even says to Majima, in the end, I have to clean up this mess. I have to have her fulfill the initial requirement, which I think the Allen Institute wanted her to be a killer. And I'm not sure if the person that talks to the commander at some point in the episode, I believe he is the Allen Institute. He's like coming in and saying, you have her on a leash, use her, send her out. Like, he's obsessed with using Chisato. And I think he's going to be an Allen Institute person, because he says something to the effect of, you're underestimating us, aren't you? Send her out. What are you doing? Send Chisato. Like, that's his immediate response is, what's going on? Everybody knows about Lycoris. Why don't you send Chisato? Send her. You're underestimating her power. Send Chisato. Like, they're obsessed with using her. Anyway, back to the scene with Chisato and Amika. Like I said, it was great because despite the fact that he's pointing out that, he has these past sins, he was using her. Yoshi's not the savior that she thinks that she is. He used her. He wanted to use her. Mika was only concerned about her being alive long enough to be active. Yoshi wanted him to promise him that he would make her into the strongest hitman. But in the end, Chisato says that she's happy, because technically Mika gave her the choice. He could have told her a long time ago that this was all to be a hitman, and she would have probably given in to that. She would stay a Lycoris for the rest of her life, just be taking out people. But thankfully, Mika technically gave her a choice in the end. By keeping this facade that Yoshi is this big savior that saved her, she was able to choose what she wanted to do, and she enjoyed the things that she enjoyed in the end. She didn't give in to what exactly she was supposed to do. So yeah, it was really cute. She's like, good. Now again, asking once again, do I look cute in this? It was really cute. Such a great outfit. And again, the animation just made it. Seeing Mika breaking down, being the happiest father ever. It was just a really cute little father-daughter scene there. Honestly, Mika's always been kind of the quiet guy in the background. There's a goofy moment here and there, but he's always kind of been the quiet guy pulling the strings with Yoshi in the background. And this really kind of humanized him, I think. So it's a really great character moment for him. All right, the second area that we have, of course, is Takina working on the side. Obviously, you couldn't even mention the idea that don't worry, we still have Takina out there trying to find a resolve for this situation, which, yes, Takina goes to this guy that they captured to find where the base is at for Majima. And he's like, oh, so this is one of those Lycoris that I keep hearing about. He goes to grab her and she takes him down. But here's the great thing. This is probably the best scene in the entire episode, besides Chisato doing the whole twirling around thing. The best scene in this entire episode, we've never once, well, we sort of get it indicated here and there, but we've never had, for once, Takina outright say that she's happier where she's at. That she's happier with Lycoris than with the DA. This is the first time we heard it. It had to be her beating the crap out of some guy. She literally says, you know what? I got fired once because I took out a lot of people. And I really enjoyed my time away. I kind of want to go back there. It's like her way of threatening this guy is saying, I got fired once for taking out too many people. And I want to do it again. So yeah, tell me where Yoshi's at. But no, from this little interrogation, she essentially figures out that these weapons, these thousands of weapons that they got, or Majima got, was from the Allen Institute. Or at least the Allen Institute pulled the strings. Because Majima at some point told his guys that Allen basically provided it, which would indicate Allen Institute. So you sort of have Takina working with the DA, sort of trying to push to get to Majima to find out where Yoshi is, because obviously Yoshi has what she needs to save Chisato. So it's a nice little way of having her get involved with the DA, despite the fact that obviously her end goal is still over here. This is what her focus is. She's just kind of using the DA. And yes, the rest of the episode was basically Majima, which most of it was a scene between Majima and Yoshi, where we get a lot of indication that Majima is looking into what the truth is behind Yoshi and Chisato. And he's like, look, wow, you guys, what would she think if she knew the truth about you? You're a pretty bad person. You're a pretty nasty person. She wouldn't think that you're the saint that she thinks you is. Additionally, he points out that that's a good thing, though, of your involvement and everything and what you're doing in the background. It's hinting at what Yoshi's doing, but it's not quite out saying it. We have to keep this a mystery. But he is specifying that because Yoshi's doing what he's doing, that was the only reason that he survived the tower. So this leads me to believe that whatever happened at the tower, this big incident, that I believe what happened is that Majima was taken out there. But the Allen Institute stepped in and saved Majima's life. Again, we've already kind of indicated that his special ability, what makes Majima special, why he's gifted, similar to everybody else that the Allen Institute supports, is his hearing. And I think they saved his life there. Not only that, but I think they gave him eyes, because he was blindfolded. Again, he could be blindfolding himself just to increase his hearing, but it could have indicated that he was blind. He got taken out of the tower. Allen Institute saved him, probably gave him some eyes, and now he is where he is now. But again, it sort of indicates that Allen Institute came in and saved his life. All for what reason? Yes, we're kind of assuming at this point. I think with all things laying out, the Allen Institute probably wants to take down the DA. It seems like everybody that currently is involved with the Allen Institute and all the stuff that Allen Institute's getting involved with is bad guys or creating hitmen. And yes, Yoshi does imply here that, again, Chisato is kind of stepping out of line, and it's up to him to sort of clean up that mess. That even though he's technically meddling with the situation, he's got to take responsibility for Chisato straying from her path. Yeah, Majima asks, are you going to take me out next? Am I straying from the path too? He's like, well, there's thousands of weapons not going to help you enough? Which, yes, this is the point which Majima pretty much states that, you know what? Allen Institute's next. Where's their headquarters at? Like, this isn't just ending here. It seems like Majima, and again, I kind of mentioned it with the last episode, it really does feel like it's placing Majima as sort of a neutral, chaotic. Like, he is sort of becoming not a good guy, but at the same time, he's going to be a benefit to Chisato and her team. That he does see that overall, the people behind the backgrounds aren't good people. The DA aren't good people. He doesn't see Allen Institute as good people. They're all just basically seeking out their own justice and doing terrible things in the background, all under the guise of peace. And that's what the conversation we get into with Majima being confronted by all the Lycoris and the commander. That's what he's basically saying. You have your own justice. You're basically plaguing the people's minds with peace. And he says that on the broadcast later on as well. You're all enjoying your peace. Japan's so great. Everywhere else there's war, there's terrorism, and all this other stuff. But Japan, man, the Japan people are great, right? No. Again, because you have the DA in the background pulling all these strings, doing terrible things, and covering everything up, you think you have peace. And yes, it seems like the Allen Institute is trying to get involved with that as well, or at least trying to take control. But yeah, they go to the tower that's being opened up, and Majima goes straight to the top, starts the broadcast, tells all the citizens about Lycoris, and then yes, tells them there's weapons all out throughout the entire city. And that's when the commander jumps on and says, do not engage in any citizens. If they have weapons, do not touch them. Again, it's trying to reveal to the people of the existence of Lycoris. Because if she doesn't make that call, you're going to have a bunch of schoolgirls running around shooting random citizens who pull out guns out of nowhere and find weapons everywhere. And that's going to cause huge havoc. That's why when we do see that one person grabbing the weapon, police officer responds to it. It's fine if they know that a police officer, took this guy out, but anybody else, that's not a good thing. And why the hell did that guy struggle? The guy's like, like, what did your hip give out? Like, why the hell did this dude fall over? Like, I can understand if he stood up. Maybe I missed it. Maybe he was trying to stand up, but it just looked like he just kind of, my hip gave out. And the cop shot him. But it's an interesting way of doing it. Like I said, the initial thought process is that Majima was going to go over there, blow up the tower. Everybody's like, oh no, big tower explosion. But no, it was just him really wanting to broadcast out to the entire world to say, hey, there's these little metal objects everywhere. Go ahead and find them and see what happens, just to get people to respond and them to see pure havoc happen. Which I don't know, and in a society like that, I would think most people would probably go, oh no, this thing's here. They might know what it is, but then like call the police and say, hey, this thing's right here. Quick, get it. Ew, gross. I mean, Japan's sort of already in that state already. I mean, they have such strict controls over weaponry over there. I would think if somebody had something laying out on a sidewalk or something like that, it would probably just be like a quick call to the police or run down to the nearest police box and say, there's this thing over here, go get it quickly. I don't know that it would create that kind of chaos, but I understand just based on the example they give is one guy going, what is this thing? And then just being chaos happening from it, especially when, again, you have 1,000 of them out there. But it could even be more than that. Majima could actually have some of his people out there firing at other people, causing other people to pick up the weapons that are near them, and they're just being pure mayhem that way. We'll see. I'll be curious to see how the next episode opens up and how it kind of lays out. But yeah, the episode ends with both the commander calling up Chisato to say, come down here and take out Majima, and then at the same time, Robota calling and saying, don't move. We have Yoshi, and if you go near that tower, we're going to take him out. So I don't know if they're implying that Yoshi is somewhere else, because it does seem like Mika's like, don't worry, Takina and them are at the tower. They'll handle that situation. It seems like she's going to go get Yoshi somewhere else. So I'm thinking next episode, Chisato runs into Yoshi. We have this big explanation as to what exactly Yoshi's plan is, what he's doing. Again, my assumption is that the Allen Institute is pushing him. Like, he knows he can't defy the Allen Institute. That's why he was going to stop her heart, but at the same time saying, be careful with her. Takina's probably going to go after Majima, probably find out at that point that Majima has that briefcase and it has Chisato's heart, and he's probably going to make a deal with Takina. And I'm sure Kurumi is probably off the side trying to figure out where Yoshi's at, and all that information about the Allen Institute, and she'll probably uncover the secrets of the Allen Institute. So that's where I'm kind of predicting it going, but I'm definitely excited for the next episode. We have 3 more episodes, so plenty more content to work with, but I hope you guys will join me for next week. As usual, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. I do news, reviews, first impressions. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support this content, I would greatly appreciate if you consider supporting us on Patreon, our tips link, or super thanks button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody it does, and y'all take care.